There are places where judgment is delivered with rituals, and others where it is delivered with silence. In one such place, a woman is found misaligned because the world no longer knows how to hold her, and exile becomes her first honest step toward becoming whole.
My sister Cylaen stood in the place assigned to her, and let her posture do what it had been trained to do. Be stoic, invite nothing, and concede nothing. The court of Serafall had gathered beneath its canopy of pale boughs and pastel blossoms. It was all as exquisite as it had ever been, and that was how she knew the judgment was already decided. If there had been doubt, there would have been fussing and murmurs. The seats had been arranged with care, but those who used to gravitate toward her were placed far enough away that their attention could not become support. Those who disliked her sat where they could watch her without being noticed. The arbiter had taken the high curve, a natural place for authority. Around them sat the counselors, each with the composed face of those who believe that stern disapproval is the same as being just. She found me easily. That is the encumbrance of twins. The other half is always there, even when distance is forced between us. I sat among the court, my hands folded as custom required, my hair braided back in the same pattern Cylaen wore. Our faces carried the same bones and the same mouth, but my composure had always been more natural. Cylaen had learned it over time as armor, while I had simply worn it like silk. Our eyes met, but Cylaen did not smile. If she smiled, the court would think it had won something from her. She only let the smallest change touch her expression, enough for me to recognize it as an answer. The arbiter let silence descend, and Cylaen waited it out. She could wait longer than any of them, having learned patience from stubbornness. The arbiter spoke. "Cylaen Silvershadow," he said, making her name sound like a formality. "You stand before the court to conclude what has been set in motion." Cylaen looked directly at him. "Then conclude it," she said. "Do not dress it in reverence." A ripple of discomfort moved through those seated nearest the arbiter, but he himself did not falter. "You have been heard," he said, with a finality that confirmed a judgment loomed. It did not mean they had listened, though. It meant her speaking had been recorded as part of the procedure. A counselor to the arbiter's right leaned forward and whispered to her, "There is no advantage to open hostility. The court does not require your sharpness." "That sharpness is mine," Cylaen replied. "I do not ask what the court requires." "Your manner will not alter what must be done," another counselor hissed. Cylaen looked from face to face. "Then why summon me at all?" she asked. "Why not enact what you have decided without requiring my body as witness?" The arbiter eyed her up and down. "Because, young lady, custom must be respected," he said. "So this is not about truth," Cylaen said. "It is about making your decision difficult to challenge." The counselor frowned. "Be very careful, Cylaen Silvershadow." Cylaen did not waver. "With what? My language?" she asked. "You have taken everything else. It is all I have." The arbiter spoke again. You are accused of loosening what was said, of drawing attention where it was not permitted, and of allowing what should remain contained to follow your steps. Cylaen listened, letting them finish. She could have interrupted, but it might make her look frantic, and she refused to be framed that way. When the arbiter paused, she said, "Those are not charges. Those are impressions. You are describing the weaknesses of another." A counselor with hair bound in ribbons of leaf spoke quietly. "Impressions are not nothing here." "No," Cylaen agreed. "Impressions are everything here. That is the problem." "You deny what was placed before us?" the counselor asked. "I deny your conclusion," Cylaen said. "I deny the way you arrived at it." The counselor remained calm. "The court judges as it sees fit." "And who teaches the court what it must be afraid of?" Cylaen asked. "You may speak to what occurred," the arbiter said. "You may offer what you will. The court will complete this." Cylaen laughed. "You speak as though I am here to help you," she said. "As though you would like my cooperation, so you can call this neat and settled." The counselor who had warned her earlier leaned forward again. "Do not pretend you do not understand what is at stake." "I understand what is at stake," Cylaen replied. "I understand what you think you are protecting, and I understand what you are truly protecting. They are not the same." The arbiter looked genuinely baffled. "Explain yourself." Cylaen blazed again. "You are protecting your status, all of you," she said. "You are protecting the court's claim to never be wrong." She looked to me, and I know she saw the fierce pride in my eyes. I wanted to reach for her more than anything in the world, but I could not, lest I be implicated. The arbiter did not respond to the accusation directly. "You have been judged," he said. "You have been found misaligned." Misaligned. It sounded like a technical fault. "If I am misaligned," she said, "then so is the court. For an eternity you have praised what you now condemn." Yet another counselor spoke, though with a softer tone. "Things that are tolerated in calm seasons become dangerous when the water rises." Cylaen recognized the tactic. "So you admit it," she said. "This is fear. The court senses change, and instead of examining it, you cut away what does not fit." The counselor shook her head. "The court persists. It always will." "The court survives," Cylaen corrected. "Persistence would require at least a little honesty." The arbiter remained unmoved. "You will be released from your place here," he said. "And you will be marked," the arbiter continued, "so that the court's decision remains true. So you will make me carry your story, whether it matches mine or not," replied Cylaen. The arbiter continued, "We will make the boundary clear." He lifted one hand, a small gesture that silenced the counselors. "You will be allowed a moment," he said, "not to plead or bargain, a moment to accept what will be enacted." Cylaen dug in. "I will not accept it," she said. "I will withstand it." The arbiter's hand lowered, but there was no further spectacle from him. She felt it as a closure, an assertion that something had been decided about her without her consent. His voice came again, as calm as ever. "You are no longer of this court," he said. "Go." Go, a single syllable to sever a life. Cylaen bowed in acknowledgement that the exchange was done. Then she turned and walked away. No one rose, called her name, or reached for her. The court watched her leave as they might watch a leaf drift down a river. She kept walking through the faces that appeared, then slipped aside. People who had once addressed her directly now kept their eyes lowered out of caution. She was a contagion now, something that might spread. Only when she reached a place where the canopy thinned into a quieter grove did she stop. I met her there, coming from behind her and saying her name. Cylaen turned. Our resemblance was striking. The same face, mouth, and eyes, yet the differences were there too. I regret to admit that I had more of the court's discipline, while Cylaen always carried something wilder beneath the surface. Saereth, you followed me, Cylaen said. I walked. They did not forbid my feet. We stood facing one another in the hush of the grove, the court already distant enough that its presence felt unreal. Can you feel it? I asked. She could have lied, but lying to me would be like giving the court a second victory. Yes, she said. Is it obvious? I asked, hardly able to look at her. My question carried more than it asked. I was asking about damage, not visibility. Cylaen almost smiled. No, she said. They would not stain their own hands like that. We stood in silence for a moment, and in that silence we understood everything that could not be said. I asked her how she now felt. Cylaen looked away as she steadied her voice. It is like a decision that has been locked in place, she said. Something in me has been removed, and it is not mine to put it back. They always speak of balance, I said, as though balance is an excuse for cruelty. Balance is their favorite word, Cylaen replied. It means whatever protects them. Looking at Cylaen now, I could see the disappointment there, and beneath that, shame. You did what you could, she said, before the silence could harden into accusation. But I sat, I watched. And you are still there, Cylaen answered. That is important to me. I turned to the future. And you, she asked, what will you do now? It would have been easy to promise a return or offer comfort, but Cylaen did not. I will live, she said. I took out a small braided cord of pale root silk. Cylaen recognized it at once, of course. We had made it together long ago. I remembered how we had laughed at how our braids never matched. I kept it, I said. You should not give me that, Cylaen replied. I am giving it to you because I cannot come with you. And because if I let you go with nothing, I will feel like I watched you fall and did not even reach out a hand. Thank you, she said. Carry it. Do not lose it. I will not, Cylaen promised me. We stood together for a moment longer, the silence holding everything we could not safely say. Cylaen looked deep into me. It felt final. Go, I said. Time did not pass in neat increments after that. It unspooled in stretches of travel and hiding, in hard weather and harder learning. Cylaen moved through places that did not care who she had been in Serafall. Hunger came when it came. People looked at her with suspicion, or desire, or weariness, and all of it was simpler than the court's polished dismissal. She did not speak of what had been done to her. She refused to make it manageable. There were nights when she lay awake and let her mind run back over the arbiter's words, searching for some crack, some place where their ritual might have left an opening. She found none. The court had been built to deny such openings. When she reached the edge of the wildwood, she arrived tired, with mud on her boots and her hair loosened by wind. The trees were thick and rough, their roots pushing through the earth like knuckles. The air smelled of the honest churn of life. It did not care for courtly sweetness, but then neither did Cylaen. She moved forward until a clearing opened around her in a broad, quiet ball of earth. At its center stood the colossal stump of the Durn yew. Around the clearing, set at even distances, stood stones. They rose taller than Cylaen, every surface scored by age and weather, and each holding a dim glow within. She did not approach the stump or touch the stones. She stood where she was and let the space take her in. Cylaen took out the braided cord. The root silk was warm now, softened by travel and skin. She held it there and looked at the stump, then walked into the center of the clearing, stood within the stone circle, and waited.
When authority accuses you wrongly, acceptance is not virtue. To rise is to refuse the shape imposed upon you, even when the cost is exile, and to fight for the right to remain whole in a world determined to define you as being smaller than you are.